Welcome to this video on how to buffer and verify the table values for an application in Tricentis Tosca. The ActionMode buffer is used to save variable values from the SUT to a local buffer, and ActionMode verify is used to check values of properties in an SUT. Let's take a look at when we might use the action modes buffer and verify. We use buffer and verify action modes to cross-check the database table values with the UI table, and then provide the table data as inputs to the next test case. For the purpose of this demonstration, let's look at the W3 school page, an open source technology languages tutorial site. Here we see the table from the application. Now let's learn how to buffer this table and then verify its values. Let's move to the Tosca screen for this demo. Here we already have scanned the W3 school table in Tosca and saved the module as HTML tables to steer it. In the test case section, we've created a new test case called Buffer and Verify Complete Table. Inside the Buffer and Verify Complete Table test case, we created two test step folders. One is Get Actual Row Count of Table, and the second is Buffer and Verify All Rows. Now let's begin with the first folder, that is Get Actual Row Count of Table. Here we'll use the row count property. This parameter instructs Tosca to calculate the total number of rows in a table. Please note that you can use this property only on the table control to verify or buffer the total number of rows in a table. For the purpose of this demonstration, we already created the Get Row Count test step using the HTML tables module in our first folder, Get Actual Row Count of Table. Here we captured the total number of rows, including the header, by using the row count property. We then buffered and named it as total rows. As mentioned earlier, while counting the total number of rows, the header gets treated as a row as well. To ignore that and to pull up the exact number of rows, we created the skip the header test step using the tbox set buffer module. In this test step, we've subtracted 1 from the buffer value using the math expression as shown on the screen. For more help on using math expressions, refer to the manual link in the description. Next, let's move to the second folder, Buffer and Verify All Rows. Here we'll use the property repetition. Repetition is a parameter that instructs Tosca to repeat the steps within a folder a specified number of times. It should be noted that we can specify the repetition parameter exclusively at the test step folder level. In the Properties pane, you can see the details of this folder. Here, enter the value of the repetition property manually as open curly bracket, b, open square bracket, iteration, close square bracket, close curly bracket. You can see that it has already been entered for this demonstration. To verify the table row values, we need to first store them as a buffer. To do so, we created a test step, Buffer All Rows. With this test step, we will get the values for company, contact, and country for each row and save the respective values with a distinct buffer name. This will include the repetition count number and set the action mode to buffer. For example, for the first row, the company name will be buffered with company_1. In the next test step, Verify All Rows, you will check the buffered company, contact, and country values for each row by setting the action mode to verify. Once all the actions are set, run the test case, Buffer and Verify Complete Table by right-clicking on it and selecting the option Run in Scratchbook. Now, Tosca will automatically jump to the W3 school table page and perform the operation. It will take a few seconds for the action to execute. Expand the results to see that the operation was performed on each row of the table. And as you can see, there are no errors and the test case has passed. With this, we come to the end of this video where you learned how to buffer and verify a complete table in Tricentis Tosca.